this is Crissy from Crissy Crochet. For today's project, we're going to make a small basket. We're going to be using Hooked Ribbon XL. We're going to be using this beautiful Early Dew color. And this Hooked Ribbon XL is 80% cotton and 20% other fibers, and it's a recycled yarn. So for this project, we're going to need the standards of a crochet hook that matches the size that's recommended on our yarn label, and we need the tapestry needle and of course a pair of scissors. These are the two baskets that I'm going to show you how to crochet in this video. This first one we're doing all in the same color, and we're putting some bands around it, which makes it kind of look like a barrel. And that's the first part. And in the second part, I'm going to show you how to vary your pattern and then weave in a different color. And then you still have the little bands here and here. So when we get finished with this one, stay tuned for the part 2 to be able to vary it a little bit if you would like. As you do this pattern, I hope you will be able to learn the technique of it, and then you make your basket to look the way that you would like it to look. And when you make this basket, I have used the Hooked Ribbon XL in all these videos I've done doing baskets and hot pads up till now. But you can use the t-shirt yarn. Bernat has a bigger yarn that would work great. There's a big that's called Bernat Big, and there's lots of yarns out there that you can use. I would just recommend the needle that you use, your crochet hook, just match it to the label, and it should work fine. These baskets in today's video, we're just using 4 rows for the base, but you can just make the base as large as you want to. In the country basket video that's on my channel, I show you how to make a bigger base. So you can look at that if you want to add rows. It's really easy though, as you get into it, once you see the pattern. It's very easy to make the base larger. And this base could be used for a lot of other projects too. I hope you'll enjoy this and make your basket your own. So let's get started. Thank you so much for joining me to watch this video. I would love for you to subscribe and to do some comments and like the video. So the base of this is going to be 4 rows. We will start with a magic circle, and then we'll put 6 single crochets in the magic circle. So to do our magic circle, we're going to put our yarn over our hand. We're going to put an X. We're going to just make an X and turn that over. And on this side, we are going to go under this first strand, pick up the back one, twist, go across it over on the other side, and pick up the back side. And then all we have to do is just pull that through. And that makes our magic circle. We tighten it up a little bit. Okay. Like that. And there it is. So our tail is going to be worked with our crocheting. So we're making 6 single crochets in this ring. So we're going to go in. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. We're going to yarn over and pull through both loops. And that is your first single crochet. The next one, go in, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both loops. Okay, go into the loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull through both loops. We've got 3. We need to do 3 more. Okay, at this point we should have 6. So we can look, right here's the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, close up the circle by pulling the tail of the yarn. Now, I'm going to use a loop method of fastening this together. So I'm going to pull this loop out a little bit larger than normal. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go from the back to the front under these 2 loops of the first stitch. Just go right underneath. Take that loop, pull it through those 2. Just pull up, and that'll pull it through. Okay. And that's how we're going to start our project. Okay, and like I said, this is going to be a smaller basket today. All right, next we are going to put 2 knit stitches in each of the single crochet stitches. So at the place where your loop's at, if you look just a little bit to the left, then you're going to open this up right here. And you're going to go right between those 2 stitches, and as you go through, it will separate the 2 parts of the stitch. And if you look at the back, you can see there will be one on each side. Then we're going to take our working yarn, and we're going to put it across our crochet hook. We're going to put the loop over it. We're going to pull the loop through to the top, and then we're going to chain 1 there to finish that stitch, to make that one. So that's what it looks like. We're going to put a second one right in there. And this, the knit stitch, is basically a single crochet, except you put them between the stitches instead of underneath the top 2 loops. All right, you do your second one. All right, so you have 2 in the first one, and then we're going to go right between these 2. And like I said, in the back, you can see that they will separate. And you pull that one through, put 2 in that one. Okay, next one, put 2. And I will meet you back. Leave the last 2, and we'll do those together. Now that you're back around, we have 2 more knit stitches to go into this stitch. So let's do those. So there's one of them. And then put your second one in. And there's your second one. Okay, now this is what your ring will look like. We're going to create the last one using the loop method. And so if you'll look in between, there's one that kind of goes up sideways, and that's not the one you want. You're going to make the last one, so we're going to go right under the 2 loops in this stitch right here. Okay, so pull the loop through like that. Okay, and now I'm going to tighten the back up a little bit more, pulling the tail of my yarn so that it looks neat in the middle. And let's count our stitches. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and right there's the 12th one. Okay, that's the one that we made. So if you don't have the right number, go back and look and see what you did. All right, the next row, we're only doing 4 rows for the base. We are putting 1 knit stitch between these 2 stitches here, right into this little area there. Then we'll go over, we'll put 2, 1, and then 2, and then 1, and so forth, all the way around. So we're going to go ahead, it's just a little bit to the left where these 2 stitches meet, go in between, and you can easily see in the back, it opens up the 2 parts of your stitch. Put your crochet yarn across your hook, pull your loop over and pull it up, then crochet 1 chain there to finish that stitch. So we have 1 there. All right, we're going to go over to this next stitch and we're going to put 2. This method I really like because it leaves such a neat look around your circle. So you have 1 there, 2 here, 1, so your pattern's 1, and then 2. 1 there, 2 in the next one, all right, and then just keep going, 1, and then 2, 1, 2, and leave the last 2 at the end, and we'll do those together. We are back around, so we have 2 to go into this last stitch. Now remember, on this one, this is where we pull the loop across, so there'll be an extra little loop right there. So what we're going to do is, as I said, we need to put 2 in this one here to finish the round, and just go through, and you just go over top the loop. It would be just like working a tail end as you're crocheting. So put 2 right there, and then this is what your circle or your base will look like. All right, then we're going to do our join using the loop method. So now if you look here, this matches up. Right here, there's a stitch, a knit stitch, and there's 1 right here. So that shows us then that we're going to go right there to go under the loop from the back. Then pull this through like that. And now let's count. As I've said before, this one will be the last one. So we'll start right here, and we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and that one makes your 18th one, and that would be correct. We needed 18 stitches. All right. Now, this last row of our base, we are going to put 1 knit stitch in our first space, 1 in the next one, 2 in the next one. So our pattern is going to be 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. All right, let's do a couple together. And like I said, you're just a little bit to the left of the loop between those stitches. Let's go in. And again, our pattern starts off with 1 knit stitch. So we're going to put our working yarn between the loop and the hook, pull through the loop, pull up, and then just chain through it to finish it. Then the next one, we're going to put 1, excuse me, just 1. 1. So now there's our second one, and then we're going to put 2 in this one. 1 and 2. So the pattern is 1, 1, and then 2. And I told you in another video, the total number of the pattern will be if you add them together, then you'll be on, you'll get the total that will be the row number. So if you have 1 plus 2, of course, is 4. And this is our 4th row. Right here was our first one, second, third. This one's our 4th one. So the pattern, the numbers add up to be 4. 1 plus 1 plus 2. All right, let's do one more, and then I'll leave you doing the rest of it. All right, 1 in this next one, and 1 in this one, and then 2. All right, finish on around and leave the last 2, and we will do those together. We're back around, so we need to put the last 2 here. Here was 1, 1, and then 2. Now, if you don't come out with 2 at the end, something is wrong with the way that you went around it. So we'll put 2 in this last one, and as I said, you're working over that extra loop on this one, but it just disappears when you put your knit stitches in. So there we go. See how neat that is? And here you can see that this one here, that right there, matches up with this one over here. So we're going to go under this one that's on top, because we're going to create that last one by going underneath these 2 loops, those right there. And as I said, if you look here, you know you have to have this one that matches this one, because that row, other than finishing this one, is going to be complete. So pull that over, pull that up, and then this time, let's count again on this row. Again, we will start, let's start this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. And that will be correct. You should have 24 stitches when you create that last one. Okay. Now, this is going to be our base, and we're going to now turn this to where we can see sideways here a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into this same stitch that this loop is at, but we're going to go through the back loop only, right here, right there. Then when you turn it over, do you see the little short loop right there? We're going to go under it. It's like a little hump there. It's about half the size. It's the base of the other stitch. All right, so we're going to put our yarn across. We're going to take our loop and we're going to pull it up through right there. And then we'll do 1 stitch there to finish it. Now what we're doing is we're going to start our sides, and this side of our loop is going to cause you to have a little base around it, and then it will sit better once we get around to the other side and start up the sides. We will not be increasing now, so for right now, we're going to do 2 rows of, well, first of all, we need to do a base row of just single crochets using the back loop and that little bump, that little stitch right there. And this will make it a little sturdier if you go under the back loop and that other little loop. So that's why I use both of them. You could use only one, but I think it stands up better if we use both of those. So we're going to go into the back loop like that, just the back loop. Then right under that other little shorter loop, like that, we're going to pull our yarn through, pull up, and pull through and just do a single crochet. All right, go through just the back loop. Go through the back loop, right under that little shorter loop, right behind it. Okay, and then just do a single crochet. All right, again, right through the middle. Okay, there's that little loop. Go under it, so you'll have 2 little loops there, and then you'll pull up and pull through both loops. Okay. And as I said, this does 2 things. It makes it sturdy, and then it leaves a nice little edging. So if you will, go ahead and go all the way around. I'll meet you back when you get over here to join. So that's what it looks like. You've got a little ridge here, and in just a minute, as we start back, that's going to fold, and that's going to start your side. Now this last stitch, you need to be very careful and make sure that you get between the 2 parts of that stitch. Sometimes when you come back around, it looks like it's 1 stitch. If you go under both, it's going to mess up your little pattern that goes around as the edge. So make sure you get right in the middle, right there. And here, I'll show you back over on this side, you'll have to go under that little nubby small stitch and also pick up the loop. You know, I told you a minute ago that there was that extra strand right there. So make sure that you go under it too, so it hides it. And then just pull that all the way through and then finish your single crochet. And you can see I'm gonna take this off, and we're gonna form that a little bit there before we fasten it. And you can see what a beautiful flat bottom you have, and the pretty little edge that's going to show when you set the basket on the base. Now, before we go on, make sure you tighten up the middle as much as you're going to. I think mine's fine. We're going to hide this because it's going to be harder to get down in here later on. So all we have to do is take our needle, and using this yarn, I back up and take my needle and thread it kind of backwards, because you can't actually go through and pull another piece of yarn through this type of yarn. Okay, so we'll just thread it, and I'm going to pull that through. We're just going to hide it as neatly as we can in the bottom there. Okay, now we'll go in another little place here. Again, I'm taking the eye and just backing up. And of course, you need to make sure you don't go through and leave a loop over on the side that's actually the right side of it. So we'll just pull that through until you think that's secure enough. And it's pretty tight in there already. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clip my tail off. Okay. So now that's done. Again, we're going to just take our hands and kind of mold the way that that's going to look. You won't have to increase anymore. We did knot around this one. So we're just going to come straight up to make the sides. Now, right here, what we're going to do is we're going to just fasten this just like we've been doing. Looking at it, okay, here's this row. There's one, there's one. Here's this one, here's this one. So it's not the curved stitch that you're going to go under. It's the next one. It's right there. And once you get that, and it's real easy once you do this a few times. The first time or two, you might have to work out a little bit, but it's worth it, I think. So put your loop over, pull your yarn up. All right, and you fasten it. Okay? Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start back with knit stitches. Okay, to start our knit stitches, we're going to go through that very first space right there, bring our yarn over, pull our loop over, and pull it up, just like we did before in the base, and then finish the stitch. That's your first one. All right, then just keep going. Here's your next one, right in between those two right there. There's one, and it's just one in each one. So there's your two loops. Right there's the space you go between to do a knit stitch. All right, put one in each one, and you just continue around like that until you get back around, and I will meet you back. We're back around, and we lack the one stitch that goes right in here. And if you'll notice over here, here's a stitch, here's a stitch. And over here, here's a stitch, here's a stitch. And then there's one that we are lacking that would match that one there. So we're going to go into there. Again, that little extra loop will be there. Just kind of ignore it, just go under it and back over it and hide it. And then there you go. And so there's 1, 2, there's 1, 2. And once you work on it a while, it gets obvious that they match each side. So pull your loop a little bit, do our loop method. So it'll be this one here. Go under it, pull this back across, and pull this up like that. And kind of keep that, you want to kind of keep your shape like you're going up. So now if you look at it, look how pretty. Here's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, back over here. Everything's matching. And when I first started making baskets, one of the things that I thought was the hardest is to try to keep your basket as you went up the side, keeping all this straight. And this method helps to do that. And I really like it, the straighter that it is. Of course, you can't get it perfectly straight, but you don't want it going sideways either. All right, we're going to do one more row just like we just did. So we'll put our needle in between here and start this row. Of course, make this first one by pulling your loop up. Each row starts out, whoops, I missed that one. Okay, let's do that again. All right, and pull your stitch through, come up, and then of course finish that one. And then just keep working your knit stitch right around exactly the same way. You just go into each one, put one knit stitch like that. So now we have one row that had the single crochet to get started back, and now we have our second row of knit stitches. Meet you back when you get ready to join. Let's finish this last stitch. So we'll go right in here and right down through the middle of that stitch. Come back up. Okay. And there we are. And you see, everything's matching. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Looks nice. As we continue our basket, I want you to see the effect that we're getting ready to make. We are going to work in the back loops of the next couple of rows, and we're going to make what looks like the edging that goes around the base of your basket. So we'll have a row of it here and one here. And if you'll look at this, you can see that it kind of looks like a barrel. And as I was trying some different ways to do this basket, I realized just trying some different stitches that this made it look like the bands of a barrel. And so that's where I got my idea to call it a barrel basket. So now we're going to continue on our basket. We were getting ready to finish this third row of stitches from the base. 1, 2, 3. We did the single crochet here, then we did a row of knit stitches and another row of knit stitches. So let's hook together our row, and you're going to go again looking at your work. You can tell exactly where you need to go. Here you have this stitch and this stitch, this one and this one, this one and this one. So everything has 3, and you don't have an extra one or you don't lack one. So again, from the back to the front, we're going to go through this one and create a closing stitch here. Okay, so there you have that. So we're going to go into the middle of the same stitch as the loop. You're going to go into that stitch and pick up the other little loop right at the base of that one, like we did before. Okay, then we're going to pull our yarn over, put our loop over our hook, and pull through. Then do 1 chain stitch to finish that. All right, now we're just going to do that same thing, 1 stitch in each of the stitches. You're going to go into the middle, and then that little back hump stitch right there, and then you do your single crochet. So we'll just keep going, and sometimes you've got to push that just a little bit. It takes a little bit more time to get that other stitch, that other little loop here, but I do think it makes it sturdier for your basket. Okay, we'll just do each one, 1 and 1. Okay, and then that's what it looks like. And you keep working on around till you get back over to where it meets, and wait on me and we'll do the last stitch together. Now for this last stitch, just remember that this is the one that you need to make sure that you split, because a lot of times it looks like 1 loop instead of 2, but there's 2 there. So we'll go into that back loop, and again you're going to have also the other little loop that we pulled across in this last one. So we'll go through 3 of these in the back. Okay, then we'll just pull up through. Okay, and then this right here, we're going to fasten this. So this is our 1 stitch on this side, this is our 1 stitch there. Pull your loop up, get the one that's flatter on top, go under it and pull your loop through. Okay, now when you look at this, you have like 2 rows here, but if we start back with the knit stitch, then this one will disappear. So we need to do 1 more row of our single crochet in the back loop. Again, go in where the loop's at, right there, and catch that other little loop back there. Okay. Alrighty. Put our yarn over and our loop on our hook and pull up. Chain through it to make that one. And then we just continue. Go in the back loop. And some yarn, it's tighter and some's looser. And so most of the time with this, you don't need to crochet real tight. Now, I have a tendency to crochet tighter than some people. So I probably need to work on loosening up a little bit. But just keep going through your loops. Just the back loop, and catch the other little one at the base of that one, and then just pull through. Okay, go on around, and I'll meet you back at the end of the row. Again, make sure you separate this stitch right here into the 2 loops. All right, we'll go into the back part of that one and pick up the little short loop, and then the one that we pulled across to close the round. Okay, now just pull through and finish that stitch, and now we're at the end of that row. Now, if you want it to have this 3rd band, I call these kind of little bands around here, but if you wanted a 3rd one, you would just do another row of the loops, using the back loops and doing the single crochet. But now, I think the 2 that we want here for this basket, we'll switch back now, and we will do the knit stitches. So we're going to fasten, pull our loop out a little bit. Again, you can tell right exactly where your loops are. And if this is a little bit turned, once in a while, part of the time, this very last one will turn just a little bit, but then you can kind of straighten it up. But if you'll look, right there's this one, here's this one. We're going to go right in the, go through the back of this one, top 2 loops, and pull through. Now, all we do is we start back with the knit stitches. So if you'll remember, here's your loop, and you've got to go through between these 2 stitches here to get started. And so we'll do that. Pull our yarn across or loop over and pull through. And now these single crochets, because they're going into this V, are knit stitches. And that's the only difference between the single crochet and the knit, is just where you put it. We're going to put 1 in each. There's no increase up the sides at all. We leave those just 1 in each stitch. Okay, and you keep going. And as you can see, we've done enough now, you can see we will have these 2 little bands here, and then this is going to start looking again like the bottom part. And then when we get up a little bit farther, we'll put 2 more bands and make it taller, like this one. We'll make it similar to this size. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, yes, it'll be this size because we have 4 rows in the one I made here. I have made some with 5, but this one is plenty big enough to use as a pencil holder or for your crochet hooks, to put a plant down in. Of course, you'd have to put a plastic container for your plant, or you can put an artificial one, of course. But anyway, this is what it's going to look like when we get done, except we're going to have it in this beautiful green color. I'll meet you back when you finish that row. We are back around, and we need to do this other knit stitch. So we'll get it done. Okay. And then let's fasten. There's 1, 2, 1, 2. Use the flat stitch up here to go under. All right. And pull your loop through. And now we're going to do another row of knit stitches. So let's get started with that. Come over here, go through, pull our yarn over, pull our loop over our hook, and pull up, and then do your other stitch there. And now we just do exactly what we were doing in the last row. We just put 1 knit stitch into each of the previous row's knit stitches. Okay, go ahead and get this row done, and I'll meet you back where you join. We are at the end of this row, so we have the one knit stitch left to do. So we'll go ahead and do it. And right here is the stitch that we're going to go into to fasten using this loop method. And this is based on the invisible join. Okay, and pull that up. Okay, now we're going to switch and we're going to do this pattern, which we have to do single crochets in the back loop. So we go into the same loop as we have our hook pulled under. So let's go down into here. Okay, pick up that little loop at the base of that one. All right, and pull your yarn over, your loop over your hook, and pull through. So you went right down in the middle of that one to do the back loop. All right, we'll do another one. Well, first of all, we need to put this one more stitch right there to finish that one. Then we're going to go in the back loop of this one. And then again, get that little small loop and come through and do your single crochet. Okay. Now, go ahead and finish your round back to where you join, and I'll meet you there. Okay, we'll finish this row together. Again, make sure that that last stitch is separated. And go in the middle. And I'm going under the loop that we pulled across plus the other little small hump loop. Now pull all the way through and finish that. All right, so now there you have that one, and you are matching on each side. It takes this one and this one that you just made. So this flat one up here will be the one we'll go under to fasten. Okay. And pull that up. Okay, and so if you look, everything's matching. You've got your edge around. We're going to do another row of this where we're working in the back loop and doing the single crochet. Again, into the loop where your the little loop's at, the stitch that you're in, go right in there. And then when you get that other loop, it won't come, the big loop won't come loose. So get under there. Okay. Pull that across and pull through. All right, and then make sure you do that one stitch there to finish it, just to chain into that one to finish this first one. Okay, and then just continue. Go into the back loop, the little loop, come through, finish the stitch. So go ahead and work around doing your back loops. Now we're going through and doing this last stitch, making sure we get the back loop and finishing this stitch like that. Okay, and now we'll pull this out just a little bit, and looking at it, there's your stitch here, here's your stitch here that kind of goes sideways, then right here the flatter one, is where we join. Okay, and there we go. And there you've got your little band of 2. So now that we've got the band of 2, we're going to start back and we're going to do knit stitches again. So we'll go through and pull our yarn across our needle, our hook, and then of course our loop, and finish our stitch. So we'll just start back doing knit stitches. So you go between the little V there and separate the stitch. And we're going to do this all the way around. We're back around and we have this one knit stitch still to do. And then we're going to use the loop method of joining. And so it's going to be this stitch right here that we're going to go under the top 2 loops. If you'll look, you've got 1, 2 stitches here, 1, 2 stitches there. Pull our loop through and up. Okay, now we're going to do another row. So we'll just start like we usually do. We'll come over here, go through, put our yarn over, put our loop on our hook and pull up, or through the loop and then up. And then do a chain in that one to finish that one. All right, and then just continue this row. Okay, we're back around and we are completing this row by doing our last stitch. Now, we have 1, 2, 3 rows here. We have our little band look. We have 3 in here. 1, 2, 3, our band, then 1, 2, 3. So now we're getting ready to complete our basket. So what we're going to do a very neat top, we are going to estimate the amount that we're going to need to slip stitch to finish off the top of our barrel basket. So what I'm going to do is just wrap the yarn 5 times. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Yeah, there's 5 there. Yes, we've got 5 rows around. And that will give us just a little extra. I don't want to cut it too short. So after you have measured 5 times around your basket, we're going to use the invisible join to fasten this row. So we're going to pull the loop completely out. We're just going to take our loop, just pull it out, your yarn out of your loop, and then you'll have your stitch here. Now, what we're going to do is make that last stitch. So what we're going to do is like go from, well, this will be back to front as you pull it through. I'm going to put my yarn, we'll use the tapestry needle, and then I'm going to put my yarn here. And we're going to make this last one real neat. Now, again, looking at your rows, you have 1, 2, 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3 stitches. So it has to be this flatter stitch. So we're going to pull this through. Pull all that yarn through. Okay, and pull it tighter. And see, there's that side of it. And then, of course, this is going to go back down into this stitch right here. So we're going to go into that one and probably go through that little, the little humpy place. Whoops. Okay. Just to fasten it a little bit better. Alrighty. Now, let's see what it looks like. Okay, when we tighten it, we've made a stitch that looks like the other stitches. Now we're going to go back and use our needle, and we are going to slip stitch all the way around it. Now right here's where you made your stitch, so don't use that one to start on. Back up at least one is fine if you'll do that one. This is the one you made, so we're going to go through this stitch. We're going to pull our yarn through, and to slip stitch, all we're going to do is go under the 2 top loops of our stitch, come in, and then pull on through. Okay, just under the 2 stitches, or the 2 loops of the stitch, pull your yarn through, and then finish it. Okay, and that's all we have to do, is just do that all the way around. And you can see you're getting a nice edge that's going to look better than just leaving it. Okay, here's the way it looks without that, and then here's the way it looks with it. So it makes a neat little edge to finish this. So go ahead and continue till you get back around, leave the last stitch, and we'll do that one together. We're back around and we lack 1 stitch. So we have a little bit of tail of our yarn left. So pull it through, and then we're going to make this stitch right here. And if you'll notice, your loop goes underneath here. If you'll look at each one of these, the way that it's made. So this loop is going to need to go under. See, this is on the side, so put it under this loop of this stitch. And then you're going to pull that through and try to turn it to where it looks good. Okay, and there's that part of it. Then, of course, if you'll look, we need to go right back in. Okay, we're going to pull this on through. Let's pull this back like that, and as you look at it, you shouldn't be able to really tell where that started or ended. And there's your little barrel basket, and all we have left is this one little step. We're going to go in here, and we're going to weave in this tail. Now, because of the type yarn we're using, I'm going to go backwards with my needle. And anytime you need to do that with this type, you have to work around the stitch instead of going through it. And you could make this basket out of all kinds of different yarns. I just got started using this hooked ribbon. Okay, just go ahead and keep weaving in. And I'm going to go back the other way just a little bit, just to make sure it's secure. Okay. All right, when you get finished with the tail weaving it in, just cut that off. And there you have this beautiful little basket, which we're calling the barrel basket. This will be like part 2 of this video. There is one other thing that I want to show you. This is a different way to fix your band. And this one, I put this in the middle here, and then I did one here, and then there's the top. So, and then the green one, I just used the gray as like the band, like a barrel would have. And I want to show you quickly how you can use this same pattern that we've been doing and put the band in like this to add a little more to your basket pattern. Okay, I have this little basket started. So that's just like what we've been doing in the video, except I have more rows here. We're going to go through the process just to weave in that extra little border around it. So we just do the number of rows that you want to, and then we're going to do a single crocheting into the back loops to get this started. So you have it fastened there, and then you're going to go down in the middle of it and behind that little loop. And we've done this before. This is that same method. This will get it started though. So pull your loop through, make sure you finish that stitch, and then we're just going to do the back loop plus the other little loop. You're leaving the front loop to start the pattern. All right, and then just, like I said, just go around like we've been doing. All right, and then I'll come back to this point and show you what you do next. Okay, we're ready to finish this last stitch, and that's the one that we have to be careful, make sure that we go through the middle of it, and then we get the loop that we pull through as we start a new row, and then also that little humpy place right there, we'll get that. So this one has just a little bit more there. Pull this through like we usually do, and then we're going to use that loop method. And right now we've got one on each side, one stitch here and here. So we're going to come right here and get this one. Pull our loop through. Okay, now instead of continuing doing another row in the back loops, this time we are just going to single crochet in each of our stitches. To get started, we can go into this same stitch, pick up that little hump back there, just on this one. Okay, pick that up, and then put your yarn over and pull this loop up. Okay, and then just pull your stitch through. Then you can just continue by doing your single crochets under the two loops. Okay, like that. You're just single crocheting normally, just putting your needle under the two loops and pulling through your yarn and pulling through. Okay, and then it's going to look like this, which is going to leave some little holes right there. So work back around, and I'll meet you when you get back to where you join. Now that we're back around, we have this one stitch, and see, you can see right here's this one right there, and there's one. Okay, here's one, but there's not one that matches it, so there's still this one right here to do. So we'll just do it like that, and now you have your matching stitches. Okay, so we're going to pull this out just a little bit, and we're going to go over here and join, and of course that's your stitch that needs to stay there, and then go right under those and pull back through like that. Now that that row is finished, we're going to take a contrasting color to weave in the middle of this here. And if you'll notice, you've got little holes in between the way that you have crocheted. The only place that it's a little bit tight is this very first one, and we'll just have to go right in the middle of this here when we get to there. So let's just back up just a little bit, and we'll start fairly close to where we left off. Now actually, you can put this anywhere you want to. So we're going to take a new color, and then again we're not cutting off. We're not going to cut this strand off. So we'll put our needle in one of these holes, and we'll just leave a tail back there. We're going to just pull this through like that, and this little tail will be just loose for right now. We'll weave it in a few minutes. Okay, and then all you're going to do is go into the next stitch and pull up your loop and pull it through this one. And if you need to, you can just tighten that back. It'll hold till we get back around. And then you're going to put one in here, and try not to get your other strand tangled in with this one. Okay, so we're going to put that one there, and this is the one we're going to just have to go right kind of in the middle of, like that. See how that's looking? Okay, and again, this one's loose, and the tail is, but we will fix that. All right, and just keep your yarn separated a little bit. All right, and all we have to do is just slip stitch. So you're going in and out and pulling through. You go in, pull your yarn through, and pull it on through. Same thing. And you're going to do that all the way around. Just like that. Okay, and you can see that it's making a nice little, you're going to have a nice little band through it. So I'll meet you back when we get over here. And you do need to do this before you build any more of your walls of your basket, because it's hard to get to if you wait until you get to the top. I'll meet you back around to where we started this right here. Okay, we're back around, and we have that one stitch left to do. And again, we're going to make this one. So I'm going to cut my yarn off and leave a little bit of a tail, because we'll have to weave it in. And I'm going to pull this one, pull the tail through our stitch. And so all we're going to have to do is go around this stitch here, and I realize it's still loose back there, so we'll get that in just a second. Take your needle and pull it under so that we're making it like these others. We'll pull that through right there. Okay, then we'll bring it right back into this stitch, and sometimes I think I'm going to go from back here back through my stitch, because sometimes with this type of yarn, if you catch in the middle of one of these, it won't pull through good. So I'm going to do it this way just to make it easier. And we'll pull it through. Now, there we go. There we go. So we'll just kind of straighten this stitch out a little bit to where that looks good. Okay. We can kind of look at it and make sure that it looks neat. And then all we're going to do is come inside, and we're going to tie these together fairly snug, but not to where it pulls your loops. Just tie that together right there. Just tie a knot in there. Okay, and of course make it as neat as you can. Make sure this side looks okay. Okay, that looks fine. And then we're going to go ahead and weave these in and out of our stitches, but that should hold it. So I'm going to go in and out here. And if it'll go back through, just do it either way. That one is a little easier to get underneath that one. Okay. And I'm just weaving it in and out. Okay. And you might go back 1 or 2 stitches just to kind of catch it again. Alrighty, now I'm going to clip that one off. And I'm not running this through the pink color, and you're not going to be able to see it down in your basket anyway. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing here. Just weave this one in too. Okay, let's see if that'll slide under there. Yeah, it'll slide okay. Okay. We'll work on that next row in just a minute. Just don't get your yarn up here tangled in. All right, and then I'm going to go back right here a couple, and then I want to cut my yarn off, my tail. All right, now let's take a look at this. Now you see how you have this little edge right here. Now we need one up here, which means, and I'll show you on this one, you see how we have one here, and then we have one here with the band in the middle. To get that to look that way, we're going to have to do another row where we do a single crochet in the back loops like we've been doing. Okay, to get started on our row where we're going to do a single crochet in the back loops, we'll go through the center. You can still just go down through the center of this as long as you catch that other little back loop right there. So do that, pull your yarn over, pick up your loop. Whoops, missed it. Okay, let's try that again. Alrighty, just pull that through and up, and then pull your stitch through to complete that one. Now, all you're doing again, you're going right into the back and the little nub, the little base there, and this you've been doing. Like this. Okay, so now you're getting your other matching stitch right here. Okay, I'll meet you back. Okay, I'm back around, and now we have this side and this side matching with the band in the middle. Okay, for this little basket, I'm going to make it shorter, and I'm going to end it now. So all we'd have left then to do is just go ahead and measure around it 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And cut your yarn. And then you're going to just do your slip stitch like we did to finish the other basket. Okay, so we're going to start up here and pull this one like before we fasten it. Let's make this one by pulling that loose. Now this is actually called an invisible join, where you leave your last stitch here and connect it and back into this one. And I call the other join more of a loop join, just to keep going in your project. But it's based on this invisible join. Okay, I'm going to put my needle in, and I'm going to go, we can go from back to front. Actually won't make any difference. It'll give you the same look. Pull that through like that, as we did before. Okay, and then come down in this stitch here. Okay, and then sometimes I go on down into that other the little hump just to secure it a little more. You can do that or not on this. It won't matter that much. I just think it holds this just a little bit better if you put it under it too. Now, there you go. And if you don't like the extra at the top, you can leave it just like this. If you like it like this, you can just cut it off and weave in your ends. Okay, again, to do this last slip stitch row, don't use the one that you just made. Come back behind it one and pull this up. And then you're just going to go under that one now. Pull through like that. And just go all the way around it to make that nice finish, if you like that. And what I am trying to do with this pattern, I'm giving you some different options so that you can see different ways that you can use it. Now, if you wanted to, you could switch to the gray and do this last row in gray or the last 2 rows in gray, just whichever, way that you would like. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you'll come back and watch some more videos later with me. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you later.